for that very warm welcome to Damien. And a personal thank you to Damien for stepping aside to make room for our leader in the Parliament. That was incredible. Thank you for that. It is a true pleasure to welcome Conservatives from across the country to Calgary, into the heartland of conservatism in Canada. And also congratulations, of course, to our leader, Pierre Poilievre, who won 87% of the vote in last night's leadership review. Yeah. Oh, I want to thank all of the delegates here for giving our leader such a strong mandate, because we are going to need Pierre strong to fight for our values and reverse the terrible policies of the last 10 years. Et félicitations à notre chef, Pierre Poilievre, qui a remporté 87% de voix lors de la révision de leadership tenue hier soir. Je remercie tous les délégués de lui avoir accordé un mandat aussi fort. Nous aurons besoin de chefs forts pour défendre nos valeurs et de renverser les politiques terribles des 10 dernières années. Et ce mandat est important pour le Québec aussi, car les choses que je vais discuter aujourd'hui sont importantes aux Québécois aussi. I just add a sentence every time I try. I got to give it a whirl, right? From Peter Lougheed to Ralph Klein to Preston Manning and to the great Stephen Harper, and now to Calgary's own Pierre Poilievre, this province has a legacy of being the bastion of free thinking and economic strength since Alberta joined Confederation. But what I want to talk about today is the last 10 years. Because for 10 years, we saw a prime minister that did everything he could to devastate the West and drive our investment and jobs out while implementing radical activist policies that ramped up disorder and chaos. And it got worse over time when we saw the formation of a federal left-wing activist coalition government in Ottawa, led by then Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and his friend, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh, that were doing all they possibly could to choke off and ultimately destroy our province's energy and agriculture sectors. They also led an attack on provincial jurisdiction, energy, health, education, childcare, you name it, they wanted control over it. They placed a production cap on our nation's most valuable strategic asset, the Alberta oil sands, and along with it, an effective moratorium on the pipelines and oil tankers needed to take that oil to markets around the world. They put a Greenpeace activist, Stephen Guilbeault, thankfully no longer at the cabinet table, in charge of this assault on Canada's economy. And that is where the real damage to Canada was done by Justin Trudeau and his allies. They intruded on areas where the provinces have prime jurisdiction. They violated our Constitution and the very ties that bind Canada together in the name of top-down bureaucratic onslaught. Pierre Poilievre and our Conservatives believe in our Constitution, in leaving the provinces to be provinces, focusing on what the federal government needs to do. Things like bail reform and building projects and supporting jobs for Canadians. Like getting out of the way of investment and projects, and building a new pipeline to the West Coast, a true nation-building project. Conservatives believe in enhancing economic opportunity for Indigenous communities by providing ownership stakes in assets that will create billions of dollars in revenue every single year, like pipelines and mines and countless other projects. Under Pierre's leadership, these projects would be no-brainers. The private sector would build them, and the provincial and federal governments would use the billions in royalty and tax revenue to fund critical services that Canadians rely on. You see, Conservatives supported building new pipelines long before the elbows up crowd, and they will support them long after all the elbows come down. As I've said many times before, we need to build pipelines to the west, to the east, to the north, and to the south. I would love as the Prime Minister said, for pipelines to be boring again. I would love to just get them built. But it's not just about energy. Conservatives believe in fixing immigration, something that the federal government broke. Trudeau and his NDP friends ramped up immigration to an entirely unsustainable level, bringing in millions of new people on visas and putting up housing costs and putting a strain on healthcare and education and creating a national youth unemployment crisis. Now, make no mistake, immigration is so important to Canada's success. New Canadians from other countries have been essential for our economic prosperity and rich culture for over 150 years. And the rapid and But it's the rapid and unsustainable rate at which the federal government increased immigration that has damaged public programs and our economy, and it needs to return to the world-renowned system that it was under the leadership of Prime Minister Stephen Harper. On top of their mishandling of immigration and their attacks on our economy, they've completely overturned the social order of this nation with their woke, ideological justice policies such as the so-called safe supply of drugs, soft on crime bail and sentencing rules, and institutionalized censorship of free speech. Now, I've welcomed the stalwart defense of public order from Pierre and his caucus. He has always stood for the right to safety and freedom. Pierre has been advocating to fix the ridiculous bail laws that woke activists put in place, laws that continue to let repeat violent criminals back on the street instead of keeping them behind bars where they belong. These same criminals who are arrested half an hour after they get bail, like we recently saw in Lethbridge, where an accused criminal was released and immediately rearrested the same day for breaching his conditions. Conservatives believe in funding, not defunding the police. Conservatives believe in justice for victims, not excuses for the guilty and letting them roam free and to cause more havoc. And conservatives believe in actually helping those with addiction through treatment, not free drugs for them to use in playgrounds and parks. And rather than taking guns and punishing law-abiding firearms, things we certainly won't be doing in Alberta, conservatives see, there's a few gun owners out there. But it's because conservatives believe in addressing the actual problem, the smuggling of illegal guns from outside Canada through the porous borders that Justin Trudeau created. Pierre also believes in protecting our women and girls and upholding fairness and safety, something that we've done here in Alberta, because Pierre, myself, and the majority of Canadians agree biological men do not belong in women's sports. Period. Canadians recognize that the left-wing activists have gone too far. They want order, they want justice, and they want to take their kids to a playground without worrying about discarded needles or addicts shooting up. Public safety is a cornerstone of society. When we can't guarantee that Canadians are safe in their own communities, it is a failure, one that any Conservative government would alleviate immediately, because the Conservative Party of Canada has strong leadership. Leadership with moral clarity, with a plan to restore Canada's economic leadership, to return Canada to an international economic engine, a stalwart defender of global freedom, and a place that holds true to the promise that if you work hard, you can get ahead. That is the leadership that Pierre Poilievre brings. That is the vision he has for Canada, and it's one that he learned right here in Alberta when he was growing up. I am proud to work with him, to be a member of this party under his leadership, and I know that he'll lead the Conservatives back to victory in the next election.